Welcome to another World of Warcraft gold making video, brought to you by Darkshore Capital. In this video, we're going to take a slight detour from the World of Warcraft gold making and learn some real-world finance philosophies, specifically value investing and fundamental analysis versus technical analysis and forecasting the future. While there are many ways of thinking about the stock market, I'm going to focus on comparing just these two in this video. You may have heard of Warren Buffett, or perhaps even Seth Klarman. These two guys literally wrote the books on value investing. In a sentence, a value investor uses fundamental analysis to discover companies which are undervalued and acquire them in hopes that the market will eventually realize their true value. Let's break this down. Fundamental analysis involves creating a holistic view of a company. So you're analyzing their balance sheets, their income statements, cash flows, leadership, product pipeline, etc., etc., etc. The aim is simply to figure out what the company is worth, which of course is much easier said than done. A large corporation is very complex and difficult to model accurately, but you do the best you can. Once you have arrived at a value for the company you're looking at, you must compare it to the value assigned to it by the market. This value is known as market capitalization, or market cap for short, which is simply the total number of stock shares multiplied by the current stock price. If you find that your figure is much higher than that of the markets, the company is undervalued and probably a good target for investment. The entire philosophy of value investing is predicated on the efficient market hypothesis being wrong, or at least not always true. Efficient market hypothesis states that the market price for stock is accurately reflective of its true value, or, in other words, it's impossible to beat the market. While this is not true for stock, that is where a value investor makes his or her money. All things considered, I do believe that fundamental analysis and value investing to be a positive and helpful influence on the market and even the world at large. On the other side of things, and this is where my personal bias will start to show, you have technical analysis, which sounds really smart, but in reality is really just a load of crap. That said, I do absolutely understand why it remains viewed as a viable strategy for making money within the stock market, but let's go into a little bit about why I think it's wrong. Performing technical analysis involves looking for patterns in historical charts, and then making decisions based off of what those patterns indicate. It is a fallacy to state that past stock prices have any direct influence on future stock prices. It's simply just not how money works. However, humans are predisposed to look for patterns in everything, so you can see why it's still a popular strategy. Even if recognizing patterns could lead to a successful stock trade, you're still doing so off of just very artificial information, as opposed to fundamental analysis, which looks at what a company actually is, not just what some number for a stock price. All right, let's pull this one back around and get back into the WoW stuff. You can use these principles presented here to help make good decisions when it comes to WoW gold making as well. If you're thinking about purchasing an item off the auction house with the intent to resell it at a higher price, first you can do some fundamental analysis on the item, such as what is the item used for? What is a potential reason someone would want to purchase it? Is the current gold value that it is listed for on the auction house an accurate representation of its valuation? You can start seeing how thinking about these things can help you avoid making bad investment decisions. One good example of fundamental analysis you can do pertains to transmog items. Say you found a transmog item that you think might be a good target for a flip. Consider taking a look at what it actually looks like in the model viewer and ask yourself, is this something anyone would actually want to use for transmog, or is it just adding to your overall collection count? If the latter is true, you should probably discount your value of the item pretty significantly. Last thing I want to go over in this video is a tale of caution. You should immediately be extremely skeptical of anyone claiming to know the future price of an item. No one can predict the future. If they could, we would have our world's first trillionaire. And I'd like to illustrate my claim of that with a little story. My previous place of employment creates websites for financial companies. One aspect of a client's site was a monthly stock trading competition. Competitors would be given $100,000 worth of play money to use to make hypothetical trades. The winner, of course, was whoever had the largest net worth at the end of the month. One day at work, I discovered a problem with the process that calculated the contestants' totals every day. It kept failing with an error message, overflow. Turns out the values of the portfolios were literally too big for the computer to handle, somewhere in the neighborhood of the quadrillions. It turns out that the stock prices used to make the hypothetical trades were 15 minutes delayed. So some clever contestants figured out they could effectively look 15 minutes into the future by consulting a real-time stock feed. So the moral of the story is, if anyone could predict the future, they would be so filthy rich that it would literally break the world economy. And on that bombshell, it is time to end. If you have any questions on value investing, value gold making, please feel free to leave a comment on the video, send me a message on Twitter, or you can even write me an email. I hope you found this topic fairly interesting, and I very much look forward to hearing your feedback. Until next time, happy gold making.